Hey guys, welcome back for another episode. My name is Jason, the creator of I Am Legion for Dying Light 1 and 2, and you're now joining for part 2 of the stream. So this morning I started crawling through the code to try to better understand what was happening with the update. So they just dropped another community update for the game, and a couple of weird things were happening with the volatiles and with some of the additional AI. Some minor glitches here and there reported by people, and so I've got a rolling list of things that I'm crawling through now and setting up some new things. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, make sure to jump on the Discord. So I'm watching both the Discord and the YouTube stream. If you have any questions, you can join either on the YouTube stream or on the Discord. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and share this link back out so that you guys can join, and then we'll get started. Okay, so where we left off, the volatiles are acting a lot better now. Let me go ahead and pull this up. So I did create a split in the code for the volatiles. Essentially what I set up, or what I'm continuing to test to make sure it's set up correctly, I tried moving their screams further down in their priority list. That essentially eliminated their screams altogether. But what I've done is I've created two different types of screams. So they have the standard, they've introduced the new tyrant, and then apparently they have the concept of a summoner volatile, which I've never encountered. Some of the code glitches that we were having is where I actually turned on some of the summoning stuff for my own purposes. That code has actually been in there for a while. And so I turned it on for the mini chase that I set up back in like 0.9. And a lot of that basically was causing the glitches with the volatiles. So not only have I fixed that, what I've done is I've set up two essential summons here. So one is where if a volatile finds you, they will scream for more volatiles. So as soon as they see you, they should actually scream for more volatiles to come in and swarm you. And then there's a second one, which is a general call to the world. So the hope here is that idea that if you find a volatile inside the world, he spots you, he screams for additional volatiles. It'll create those oh shit moments. And then if you're continuing to attack the volatiles, as more and more come around, they'll continue to scream for more of the world to come in. Now, with some of that, I'm going to need to rebalance essentially how the infected are showing up and that kind of thing. I know a lot of people mentioned quite a few viral showing up and how annoying that was. And so I'm continuing to try to look at how we can get some more interesting fights going without necessarily just making it unplayable for the character. Obviously, the goal here is to not make things annoying, it's to make them more interesting. So it looks like we've got our howlers climbing again. So I think there was part of that navigation bug there that was keeping them from being able to climb. I haven't redone their sensor systems yet. He just did a scream. Okay. So I'm also continuing to look at why he's doing the silent scream essentially. So there is still the issue where certain ones of his screams are basically silent, and so I want to try to figure out what's causing that. So that's going to be the next step here. But as you can see, we've definitely got the map coming down on us. And it's interesting. So those volatiles are no longer chasing as much as they're becoming snipers here. So they're kind of doing their spit from afar. I mean, it's kind of better than them just standing there looking at you because they can't reach you. So this is an example of the dynamic pathing where they didn't write in the code. Oh, and there you go. So this is an example of my updated code here. So with the Scream system they set up, they were creating the concept, which I know I need to check the audio here to make sure that's not. Let me hit pause here and make sure the stream is not just being blasted with the desktop audio here. Turn that down a little bit and then make sure that mic is loud so you guys can actually hear me here. But essentially, The default code, they have it written in that whenever a scream happens, it essentially takes place at the screamer's feet, which makes no sense to me. So I've updated their code with a very basic line of code, which basically looks at the player's position rather than the position of the person that screamed or the infected that screamed. And the idea there is that if they scream, it will actually put the target at your feet, not at their feet. So a lot of the issues that I was seeing was kind of where they were screaming and then they were all flooding to the spot where the scream happened, but that was at their own feet, and so you would end up with all of these infected and stuff sitting kind of in the same spot where the scream occurred. Well, now when they scream, they'll actually mark you as a target and make the world come into the last known position that you were in. So this should help drive the map towards your position, no matter how high or low that you are on the map. And I'll continue to test that, but it looks like that's working well. Looks like their pathing is actually working pretty well too. As well as possible. There's still quite a few flaws in the city um, as far as the pathing goes, but you can see there's another example where it's happening at my feet rather than. And with a lot of the changes in 1.1 with this armor update, that's actually a lot. A lot of the research is going into like what is proper armor balancing in this game compared to wearing no armor. You know, what are the perks? There's still the issue that I'm running into where I'm not able to get access to the naming conventions that they have for the game, and so because of that. I'm not able to actually go in there and create new objects with new unique names. So I have created generic objects without names, and that's okay, I guess. But the problem is going to be, and what I'm kind of running into with 1.1 is that if you add these objects or you add these new armors to the level list, similar to how they have the current armor, then what you're going to end up with is hundreds of objects with no names, and you'll have no idea really what those objects are or what those armors really are without just like having to like filter through them. So you just have to keep trying armors to essentially find out, you know, what that armor actually is. I don't really like that because I feel like I would be annoyed with an inventory full of objects that I didn't know immediately what they were. So what I'm trying to set up now is that each one of the armors that I've set up, which is quite a few armors, are presented and given as a part of a quest or some unique moment in the game, so that you can potentially get them over again, but they won't show up in the like standard loot. If anything, they'll be kind of a reward system for going into a dark zone or completing a certain quest. So that way you're less likely to run into this issue of like, you know, all these generic objects in your inventory that you just have no idea what the hell they are. That also puts a damper on my ability to do new loot as far as like resources go. I had a lot of ideas for setting up new resources, but if people can't read what they actually are and what they mean, that's kind of a problem as well. So one of the things I'm going to look at next. So I additionally tried to lower the number of screamers inside the game. The compromise that I've got right now is that they search the area, but you should be able to actually run by them pretty easy. You can see there that I can actually run by them pretty well. But then if you stick in that area too long, obviously a chase starts. So what I'm hoping is that we can continue to investigate these spawn numbers, but we'll also just lower their sensitivity so that a chase doesn't start quite as easy. So they'll be more like the cameramen that they are, but a little less annoying. It's like they've disabled the jump thing. So I set back up. Oh, there's one. So I still see this every now and then. I'm still seeing the random volatiles that run away. If he's still running away, he may have stopped. I think it's a UV light that's temporarily triggering their ability to move forward, and so I think that's causing them to flee. And so I think there's some possibly where they've updated that code to from the UV immunity. Potentially, there's a new switch that's flipped to determine whether it's daytime or nighttime. And so I'm continuing to look for that one as well. So I've updated things. Virals or volatiles are working pretty good. The next step I'm going to do here is get our movement, their searching back in. So they're not currently climbing or searching the buildings. And so I'm going to go ahead and add that back. And then I'm going to also quickly look at a couple of these other factors here. So let me pull this up. Sorry, just checking my comments really quick. Hey, Verdi, how's it going, man? That first person that always says something on the YouTube is hard to spot because they have this welcome to live chat thing on the YouTube channel that always you have to look right in between it to catch it. How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well today. Let's see. So back range angle. And then also, oh, very nice. Um, So one other thing I'm going to look at, so they have this idea. So like I said, I've changed the concept of how they are triggering their this get self position. Essentially, I've updated that to get the player. I want to check really quick and see how often they're actually using. If they're using it like that, if they're using it to point at the player, then that's a problem. So let me actually go in here and say search and just see how often um, they're actually getting themselves versus, like, for example, it looks like the Banshee tag, which again I was discussing on here before. I don't think they've actually released the concept of the Banshee hag on here. Let me actually look up and see if they've actually said anything. Banshee hag Dynamite 2. Nope. So, spoilers, people, we have a new type of Banshee coming in soon. I guess I won't update the code just yet because it sounds like they haven't actually even released that character yet. And so I'll just have to do it again here in a second. So we'll just leave that character alone for now. So if we go in here to the Banshee, then we go to Banshee, combat. It's going to be combat movement. Combat movement. Let's do a quick compare really quick to make sure we're not outdated on anything here. Potentially. Let me read back through this one real quick. Because they don't, this character doesn't really seem to be going up in any direction anymore. See, could you make volatile spit make your infection rise? Um, I don't know. I would have to look at the damage. That's a damage system. And from what I've seen, they have their infection code. So I tried to do some snippets on the infection system a while back. And it's written, the infection system is written into like one module of code that you can't get access to. There's like one script that calls certain parts of it, but that's pretty much it. And so you don't really have access to to that system very well. I can essentially, I think I was able to extend or decrease the infection time, um, and then the rate. So potentially you could create a modifier, a damage modifier, that if they spit on you, it lowers your immunity. So potentially that. I'd have to look at the damage system. Let me have my whiteboard next to me anymore. Kills me. Added it to the list. Let's see. The search in the mod really quick. Folder. Diagram. So let's leave that one there and see if they start to head back up for the idle walk. I'm trying to remember if I. So what I wanted to write for the volatiles is they have their combat system that gets turned on. Once offensive hits, they can pretty much just keep doing whatever they need to do there. But what if we go to general? It's a shame that I'm pretty much having to rewrite all of these, and that's fine. I've learned a lot since I first started this, but means lots of feedback and balancing potentially here. So if it has rush selected, default, because so that would probably explain why there's no noise associated, is that I can't get to the code where they're actually firing the audio file based on these new, so whatever noise systems I set up, they're not going to have their noise ID. Did I forget what is viral? What is groan again? Viral groan. I mean, essentially, I'm not sure if you can send two, but I guess what I could do, seeing how this other one is not a summoning. This one's a summoning. This one is just going to make a noise and bring in attention. Potentially we could try that and see. Fable Sense Trail. Interesting. Verdi, for your question there on YouTube, they're releasing a new character called the Banshee Hag. I don't know if it's part of a DLC or what that will be coming out as, but it is it's a new type of um, it's a new type of Banshee that they're going to be releasing here sometime soon. Looks like they still haven't yet, but yeah, I'm imagining that won't be too long from now. They're also doing a pistol here sometime soon as well. All that stuff hit the code pretty heavy. So they have these init files that basically they've got some operators on them when they first start. And I think what I'm going to try to do is tie into this init file to where when they first start, I have them perform specific actions. And then the thing is, I'll have to figure out how to tie back into that at specific times to where I have them do it again. Like, for example, with the volatiles, they're currently not doing anything. They're currently just standing there. So, based on this init, go in here and say search. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be really brave here and write a pretty complex one that'll tie into their file. Let's see. Movement combat that I was just looking at. They're basically they got this really pretty sequence of options here that happens based on whether or not they have a target. What I want to try to do is basically go in here and hack this apart a little bit. So this is a full, so it's like basically it'll go in here and it will try to do all these things. And if any of those fail, it'll go here. So this is the one that I want to basically start. And so basically what we're going to try here is that at the start of this, right here, if it has a target, then it will hand off to it'll hand off to the offensive system, I think. Yeah, probably that one. So to do that, to get the proper verbiage here, it's the offensive. Okay. basically what we'll do, actually, so it's going to be combat system. Yeah, so essentially the volatile combat system is exactly the same thing. It says if it has a target. Yeah, so, but basically we'll just steal that same premise here. So we're going to go in here and say if it has a target, then fire these. At that point, it should be done with all of the optionals. At that point, I guess I could put in something a little bit more complex of like, so I guess I could say like search streets, search rooftops, and make like random ones. I think I had a good random string there for a while. Um, but you could put it on simple cooldown system. So basically, we say if it has a target, do this. Keep it simple for now. If it does not have a target, then it will play. If it does not have a target, pull some of those optionals back. So if it does not have a target, it'll go in here and say we need to go to the profiles and then say profile base. And we need to say it's a new group. And we'll say we need a true or false. And this way, what we can do is based on the difficulty, you could then turn this on and off essentially. But say search rooftops is true. Grab this one and say search rooftops cooldown. All right, Verdi, catch you later, man. Sorry, I'm a little head deep in the code right now. I'll talk to you on the Discord. So search rooftops cooldown. So we say like basically every, I don't know, 10 seconds they go search a rooftop. That should at least get them up. Might not have to do the cooldown part, but it might be easier. So we basically go in here and now say optional, if this is enabled, search rooftops, and it meets the criteria of the cooldown. I'm on the board. I think I had a random that I used to use. Let me see if I can find my random really quick. Tell what this is. Random. Float. Maybe not. Time delta limit random. I guess I could write literally a random float and then set that, or an int or a bool, and just literally set that on start, say randomly 0 or 1, and then based on like on their init file, I could say like give them a random integer of 0 or 1. If they're a 0, they search low. If they're a 1, search high. Let's see if this works first. Okay, so if they are if this is true, then we need to go to our Banshee. Well, it over here, but basically basically we can take the code that I wrote for random walk. Say let's say doesn't have a target, get self positioned. I guess we could say get a random target. Get so say get self direction, random float, distance, get position and direction. So what we'll do is we'll say get so we don't care if the height is greater to the target. We want to say get self position, find closest elevated position. Getting the move. What's creating the move position? Maybe that's what it's just calling it. Search position, random radius, height difference, height between tolerance. So this is where we want to say like, oh, maybe we start small. Okay. So find distance elevated. Distance between positions lower. Getting the target position and then the move position. So this is what's getting. Shouldn't that come first? Maybe it does it all at once. So distance between positions lower, distance first position is the target position. So that's, I think this is probably not going to be useful right now. So basically we say find the closest elevation, move to that position, end radius, stop at destination, fall skip on start, blend out, sure. So And then this should probably be, well, if they run there, that'll be easier to watch. Okay. So this is the condition for search rooftops. And maybe we just start there. So first we allow them to go do the rooftops thing. So then basically we now have this condition for here, which says if they see someone fire these up, if they don't see these, go search. And we'll see if that works. But basically the idea here is like, if it can't do that one either, so if that one fails, then it fires this one, which is basically walk in a random direction. Sequence selector. So then when they start, yeah. Or maybe not when they're, so the challenge here is that I don't know if that's going to mess with any storylines. They have their init trees, base tree. Basically, they don't have any conditions here like return to spawn or anything like that. So basically, it's like it's going to have to be on the main behavior tree, which says gather data from senses, select behavior. And I guess the part I don't have is really like what happens after this. Do they just stop, or how does this loop back in? So they're only going to do this once. So what I need to figure out is how to, I mean, if I could pair it with the init file, then they'll do it once and then that's it, which maybe that's exactly what I need. Let's see, general, okay, escape from sunlight. So scale this one. I don't know if that's going to work, but I guess it's worth a shot. So if we say params init, we go here and we say search, search. And if this works, then this might be a new approach for how the rest of the zombies behave as well. Okay. Let's see how bad we broke them. Okay. But and I don't know if this will actually work on any of the ones that are part of their event. I mean, it potentially should, but I've had weird effects with them before. Here's one, and he is. So safe to say, I don't think that works. But let's see if I broke him at all. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Good to know. Okay, well, hopefully it's not a typo that's doing that. So first, let's remove this added thing, and then let me make sure this is all closing up correctly. Selector, 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 optional cooldown mem, selector. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So we pulled out the init. What I'll do is I'll actually cut this. Let's throw it in there. Put it in here really quickly so that hopefully we can at least see this working. Um, and they still have these like generics here that don't actually. I mean, I'm assuming they work, but obviously I haven't seen any of these guys actually search the area. You just have so many of these different viral scripts. I mean, I removed a lot of this back when I was working on this before. I guess the problem with it is that then they updated the volatiles and it all broke. Loading. Let's look at their concept of common. So they're using the actual like viral code. So they're down under here. So what is the definition of like a viral search? I'm assuming it's the same as the one. So it's viral search. Assuming that's the same one as where they're you go through the buildings and stuff and they're slowly moving. Okay, I got them moving again. Leaning up against the wall. Well, hard to tell if that's from the event or if that's mine. So let's go find another. There's one right there. So let me go look. Once they work, he really wants that guy. The sensors definitely need to be fixed, but also looks like they're not really moving as expected yet. That's fine. We'll still need to remove them from the interior. So we're at least doing that. It's still not moving. So the screamers are doing it well. So with the screamers, maybe we can start here. So under there, we've got screamer, combat, general, idle walk. Where is that being pulled in? Got an idle walk. Potentially what I could do is write a very simple optional here that says, instead of doing the search, so instead of doing the search, potentially go in here and write an optional that says optional rooftops. If they have the search rooftops, then basically they get the move position from here. And what I'll do is just remove the actual move command, because either way we want them to move. So I've got two moves here. And so maybe that's the problem here, is that we remove this move. The difference is that it gives us a position. So both need to say because they're actually just getting a direction. Hang on. Add this back really quick. So there's two different types of act moves. One is a destination, one is a direction. Based on, oh, there we go. Yeah, random. It's just out of order. It does have a direction. So the destination then becomes random position, get distance, and then the position becomes move position instead of random. And then this also becomes move position. So that we're using the same system here. So basically, if the optional is checked, it gets a random position up high. And if it's not checked, it will get down below. So let's copy this really quickly. And let's copy this. And there's my mess up. Because we said this needs to also be move position. So this is no longer random position, it's move position. Okay. So then with that set up like that, if we go over to the screamers, to their profile and say base profile, and then say search rooftops. And then say, yeah. So now with that in mind, screamers, this is happening right after investigate point. So we go over to volatiles and say here, actually turn this into investigate point of interest. And let's try it out. One additional bug while I'm thinking about it, and that's starting up. Say appearances. very small percent chance that some of the things are working on the Tyrant and not on the regular ones, but I don't think so. He also did two screens, which I can see why that would be a problem. Um, so I think he is getting the summon for the other volatiles. Screamer also came to investigate, which is pretty fun. He just screamed. Definitely doing the screams for the volatiles though, which is great. I could figure out a way to get that dynamic pathing updated, a lot of this would be a lot more interesting. The fact that you can end most of the concern just by doing this. I mean, the key here though is that if they can spit at you, then you have to keep moving. So they're really just freaking out. Fine if they actually stick with you. So tyrant should follow me no matter what. Piss off a tyrant, he should stick with you. Oof. Definitely made him fasten. Yeah, so the pathing issues are fixed, I think. I think probably one of the things I'd like to fix is the random walk. The random walk is still not working. And the random walk and then also the pathing would be great. Get that. Yeah, so also it looks like it lost my looks like it lost my update for the different DLC ones as well. The IDs are correct. So it's like a oh, there's another one they added. Nope. Okay, so that should fix the issues with the inventory or the stash, also with the player appearances. Um, And then let's see, what did it get the? And then let's see the actually run to the bathroom real quick, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, sorry about that. Okay, so from here, I need to switch back over to these guys. So they're not currently searching. I noticed a while back that their random search code was no longer working. And I just wrote this new one for them to search, and that doesn't seem to be working either. So there must actually be something that's causing them to stick right there when they spawn. Um, the search doesn't really. Okay. I might have to come back to this one just because I want to be able to make sure I'm getting to all the other feedback that people left as well. Because if I go too far down this rabbit hole, then I'll get stuck here. So let me bring up my mod really quick. Barry. Okay, one of the other ones mentioned that I did notice myself was that there seems to be a flickering as far as the graphics go, but I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I pulled all of the actual visual stuff out of the mod. Hang on, let me go back to daylight. So I did also see, so someone just posted about or no, someone reported a bug about the spitters getting stuck in what we were just seeing a second ago. So let me actually go to our spitters really quick and see how much code got here. So to make sure that they're not getting stuck in a loop. Definitely no longer doing this. So a majority of the characters are no longer doing the random walk. I guess it's at least the screamers are. But if they've turned something off somewhere else that is keeping them from doing that movement, you can compare some of these additional files really quick just to make sure. So they added a new value called stationary mode. That was not in here. And it looks like they're now using a vector 3. That's new. Or at least what they're calling it is new. It doesn't look like it's actually necessarily new itself. It's just so that could have potentially been causing it. And now they are now enabling this new thing called stationary mode. General choice. So in mine, they're looking for if there's a chase in progress. It is potentially this one that I wrote for the UV detection. There was a bug in there a while back. I'll go ahead and just remove that one outright. I think they've fixed a lot of the UV stuff. And then profiles. Oh, and so potentially that will fix the spitter. And then someone reported that the humans are constantly dodging their spears and bricks. Let me go in here and say expose volatile. This is okay. Go in here and say open folder. And we'll actually do this on my file, say human, and we'll say dodge. Yeah, so the human constant space, basically the dodge throwables, sounds like the cooldown is too high. So let's set that to something like 8 or okay. And then the other one is that the one that I recorded earlier, which appears to be working well, which is basically that when the humans are damaged, they retreat to higher ground. I'm nervous to get anywhere into any of this code. Let's see. These were so much code for these guys. Generic move, go to high ground. So I'm pretty sure I've got them set to where they're just going to the highest elevated position. I guess let me search really quick. Let's say human. So let's go in here and say high ground. I think I have it set to where, yeah, so like the bowmen, they're going up pretty much all the time, which I think has worked out well so far. I think the problem is that like I don't know how to stick them there. Because right after that, they just basically, so this is under generic, but I think with this one it was combat bow. Because you want them to go to high ground and then you just want them to stay there and keep firing kind of thing. Um, but where I have this set up, they're just going higher and then going down and then going higher and going down kind of thing. Let's say find range. I guess let's pull up the say bow. So what I modified there was I just increased the range. So one of the things I noticed is that like they'll go higher and then they'll climb down. Sometimes I wonder if that's because of the distance. They're trying to close the distance a little bit. If I increase that distance, then maybe they'll get high and stay high. Um, but that was not the initial complaint. So let me go back really quick. By ground, it's not that one. Ground. So human retreat, which is under, say, human, the whole folder of retreat. And basically, we've got this set up to where it says go to the high ground. It's on cooldown time. Uh, and then it plays disable force retreat if cornered. And then it's doing the attack push. And so I think what I need to do is probably the, this would say like, once they go to high ground, it would then say optional. So we need to pull back up this and say throw. Oh no. I think this is where, so I wrote all this code for them being able to throw different objects. Like this has got to be my code. Like there's no way. Like they don't have the concept of UV flares in the default. Open folder, AI, paper tree, Okay, okay, that's why. I'm gonna say this is all my code. Okay, so I did try the prefab. So basically what I'm gonna do here is that they've got the retreat code set up. If they have um, this enabled, then what I'll do is I'll go to each one of these and say, so once they go up, we'll then hand it off to throw knife. If they go up and they have a grenade, I think that was one of mine as well. The Molotov, I think, is probably the finding files. Yeah, that was the weird one. That was the one I was getting all sorts of issues on. So, um, I think all of them have the potential for using the bow. So I think that one's turned on. So I think this is actually going to have to be stone as well. Um, it's so hard to get these guys to have like throwables. So close to. Should probably try again sometime. Um, basically, what I was just looking at is if it says condition. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the this and we'll say enable bow. I don't think that's it though. I think it's yeah. Yeah. So under each one, they have the concept of like a bow. So what we'll do is we'll say if enabled bow is true, and then we'll do a check and say if they have a bow, as a condition. So if they have a bow, then So if they have a knife and if they have a bow, then they should attack. I wish there was some way I could get them to heal. Let me try searching that, I guess. Ooh. There's probably no way this still exists. So they all need med kits? Heal. I bet that code no longer exists. Ooh, that's fun. I like that. This one. So essentially, with this kind of script, you could say, based on a condition, do this, 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 or this. Because if it's written properly, then that will immediately update it into its. I do like that. Yeah, so they don't really have the idea of healing in the game. They have code tied to the value of their health that changes their behavior when certain things become true. I guess what you could do is you could say if they've had time to go back up there, if they reach the high ground or if they go to the high ground, then allow them to take less damage for a little bit. Wouldn't work really well with health bars, but that would try to keep you from letting them take the high ground. Let's try a couple of things here and just see. Um, so it's not going to be this immortal health multiplier. Um, what we need to do is go and say, find this immortal health multiplier. Then I need to give them health kits. So if we go here to scripts, inventory, and sets. Yeah. And basically what we'll do is I need to confirm that this is even a thing anymore. Where would we go for that? Medkit health instance that needs to be searched in the whole thing as well. So here we go. So here's damage definition. So we can clear that. So find me that health kit. And then here we're looking for immortal health multiplier. So what we can do is say so what we can do is we can give them kind of a basic potion damage reduction. Maybe we can give them kind of a potion damage reduction kind of boost and call this an adrenaline shot kind of thing. And then let's confirm that we do have a med kit instant. We do have the healing definitely. Healing. Let's try this. Let's give them a med kit normal. Fun. Okay. And then after all of this happens, so they go through, they do the sequence memory. That should send them back to normal behavior. So let's go here and confirm all that was added. Hit save here. And let's see what we broke. see that, we probably need to, yeah, that flickering. Before I post, I'm probably going to stop. I'm going to probably uninstall the mod completely and see if we can figure out this whole thing with the flickering. See if that's being caused by the mod. Okay, man. Damn, he's still in there, man. It just showed up. Interesting. We definitely have the immunity issue again. Still doing that thing where they take one shot and then they relocate, and then they take one shot and they relocate. Um, Watching them here. Ooh.
I shouldn't be sitting.
Two pairs of lieutenant gloves. Lieutenant will I be? So there's that engine thing. So it's interesting. They must be applying a graphic effect between the two. So far, I haven't seen anybody retreat upward, except maybe this guy. What's this health at?
Find shelter, civilian. Sure.
Something ain't quite right. Investigate that. Think you're a ghost now. You're wasting my time, asshole. There ain't no renegades around here. You want to see?
I think that actually worked pretty good. So one of the concerns is obviously the volatiles are still having their glitches during the day. I'm assuming people will notice that, but I don't really know that there's a lot that can be done about that. Oh no, is that why? Oh crap. Well, I don't think I hit save. That would definitely do it. Yeah. So maybe that will help. Let's see. Next, I'm going to go to the health definitions to try to look at some of the things, or one of the things that people have reported is the amount of damage that they don't think the damage is very good on the biters. Let's go in here, see health definitions. Here. Need this. Save. So I originally did this. A couple of people had mentioned that the biters, the health scaling was a little weird. So I tried my hand at flattening that curve a little bit, but I do think that I made them a little bit too weak there. Have lowered the health on the volatiles. Level 1 volatiles. I think I'm going to actually make it to where, I mean, with the scaling, that should be appropriate. Okay. So that should fix the health. For the healing definitions, and then the damage definitions. Dokey. All right, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this up. I think we had quite a few fixes in here. Summoning. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to go through the process of trying to get this pushed out. So you guys should have this update here very shortly. I hope you guys have a good experience with it. If you have any feedback for it or any issues, please let me know. But I look forward to hearing from you guys. All right, thanks, guys.